Okay, dasar bantahan pertama apa tadi? It's not cheap, tidak mahal. Dasar bantahan kedua. Okay, tidak murah. Okay. So nowadays bencana alam happens all the time, betul? Because of climate change and everything. In fact, kat Kedah pun barunya ada ikut taufan. It's quite scary. And so dasar bantahan kedua, we are saying that tiada jaminan 100% bahawa loji nuklear selamat. Can anyone in this room tell me tanpa muka ragu-ragu bahawa loji nuklear adalah adalah selamat? And ada orang akan cakap lah, wow, loji nuklear punya tower tu, reactor tower tu, kapal terbang langgar pun tak meletup. Interesting argument lah kan. But kalau teroris dia tak langgar reactor tower tu, dia langgar command center lah kan, dia langgar the office lah kot. Apa dia langgar tower tu, just an example lah. So we are saying, can anyone guarantee loji nuklear 100% selamat? Walhal yang seperti di Fukushima, Jepun kan, negara yang QA/QC boleh katakan bapa quality control di dunia, Japan. Siapa-siapa banyak student kat sini kan, where you learn quality? From the Japanese. Exactly. So tiada jaminan loji nuklear 100% selamat daripada kesilapan operasi. Chernobyl, operator tidur. What happened? Padang jarak terkukuh, 30 km radius, no man's land. Kalau pergi Chernobyl, dah jadi bangunan-bangunan yang tumbuh pokok. Dah jadi hutan bandar. Bukan hutan bandar Johor. Hutan bandar Chernobyl, 30 km radius, no man's land. Dulu 50,000 orang duduk kat situ, dekat kampung yang berdekatan situ. Sekarang, berapa orang duduk situ? Kosong. So, nombor 2 ni, tiada sama daripada kesilapan operasi ataupun sabotage ataupun ancaman pengganas. Baru-baru ini semalam di laporan berita di UK ada ugutan teroris untuk bom loji nuklear. So I would like to invite Dr. McCoy again to tell us, can we guarantee 100% loji nuklear jika dibina di Malaysia is safe?
Well, I think when you talk about the major nuclear accidents like Chernobyl and Fukushima and perhaps Third Mile Island in the United States, these are major catastrophic nuclear accidents, but they're not common. I think we have to agree. They're not common, but when they happen, then you are really in serious trouble. I mean, Chernobyl and Fukushima are very, very good examples. Nobody in the world today knows what to do with the Fukushima catastrophe. Nobody. Everybody's looked at it and said, I'm not sure what we're going to do about this. Because they're pouring water into the reactors to cool them down, and then this radioactive water is stored in tanks, and these tanks are now beginning to leak. And this is radioactive water going down into below the earth and into water supplies and into the sea. And eventually, people think that Japan will only be able to get rid of all this radioactive water used for cooling the fuel rods is by disposing of radioactive water into the South China Sea. So, we are really in serious trouble. People who live around even America, the west coast of America is going to be affected eventually. But there have been hundreds of minor nuclear accidents all over the world, and none of them have developed into major nuclear accidents, thank goodness. But the fact remains that nuclear power plants are very prone to accidents. And in Malaysia, if you look at our maintenance culture and our safety culture, you would get goose pimples when you think that we are going to build one nuclear reactor in this country. I mean, one Fukushima-like accident in this country is the end of this country, because it will make a lot of Malaysia, half of Malaysia perhaps, would not be inhabitable. And Fukushima is going to cause huge problems for Japan. And Tokyo is not very far from Fukushima. The government has already identified 7 sites. I think there's a map somewhere around which you've seen. 7 sites to build this. They have decided, as far as I know. They don't say these things. People like me. 2 in Terengganu, 2 in Johor, and the Singapore government is very, very worried if they build it in Johor, southern Johor. 2 in Perak, 1 in Kedah. 5 along the coast, because you need water, seawater. 2 next to 2 lakes, Lake Chini and I forget the name of the other one in Perak. Right, okay. So those are the sites. So those of you who have got families in these areas, and even if you live in Kuala Lumpur, you better be nervous about these nuclear reactors. So we've got to work very hard to convince this government. And this government is very difficult to convince. It doesn't talk to you and me. So how do we convince them? It owns the major newspapers in this country. So how do you write in these newspapers and say the things we would like to say about nuclear energy and about all the other things that go on in government? So we are in serious trouble. And seriously, I think the only way we're going to stop the construction of this nuclear power plant is by changing the government. I see no other solution unless they have a nightmare. Let's hope Najib has a nightmare one day and dreams that he's in Fukushima. Then we might have a change in policy. But, you know, I have my doubts.
Give him a 1 week holiday in Fukushima.
Right. Yes, why not? Thank you.
Thank you. So basically, Dr. McCoy share with us, kalau ada satu bencana, walaupun dalam sejarah nuklear bencana yang besar, yang major tak banyak, kan? Insiden kecil sebenarnya every day ada. If you do Google alert on nuclear energy incident, every day ada. Lampu tak tutup lah, overheating lah. Every day ada insiden yang kecil. Tapi insiden besar seperti di Fukushima, Chernobyl jarang berlaku. Tapi jika berlaku, kesan dia marah, dahsyat. And mengenai change of government tu, I am not so sure because saya pun tak nampak, belum nampak apa-apa stand daripada dia ada parti mengenai logi nuklear. Kecuali daripada parti DAP jika tidak salah. Tapi aman akan approach semua parti politik tanpa mengira sama ada daripada parti kerajaan atau parti membangkang untuk mendapatkan feedback mereka mengenai nuklear.